Wallace, President and CEO of Lade Incorporated. Lade Incorporated is a non-profit organization whose mission is to get girls and women to recognize their potential, cultivate their strengths, and utilize the power that they have deeply ingrained in them. Here, I have my friend Dana Devine, who exemplifies just that. So Dana, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a singer-songwriter, mother of 3 from Chicago. I've actually been living a few places. I have about 45 records out, one out now on Tracksource. Check it out. Nothing Without You by Dana Devine. Songwriting is my first love. But I do radio, and I'm at Moody Radio. We're in 200 countries. I get a chance to bless people with the ministry. And about 7 months ago, I decided to turn a little bit of my passion into a little bit of a career, and I joined the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force.
Awesome.
And I did because I am a breast cancer survivor. It's this month of October. Woohoo! And it was a natural draw, and so I spend my mornings saving lives and my evenings saving my life singing.
I knew about the breast cancer task force, which I absolutely commend you for doing. And also, I just want to shout you out for being a breast cancer survivor, because most people victimize themselves, but you are a survivor, and I love it.
Well, early detection saves lives.
Okay.
So the message is, yes, I'm surviving, I'm living to survive, and I just want to remind all of you that an annual mammogram is the only way to survive. So it's a very important message, because here in Chicago, African American women under 40 die 157% more often than white women their age.
Jeez.
That's a pretty good number. And so we really are striving at the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force to do something about it, instead of just reading the statistic and knowing that those numbers are right in our communities. We really advocate for women, and women who are underinsured or uninsured
absolutely
can get a free mammogram through our agency.
So where can we find you? Where is the actual location? Do you guys do events? Do you guys go out and educate people on these things? Like, where can we find you guys?
So the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force is located at 300 South Ashland. And the procedure is very simple. You can call 312-942-3368, or you can go online, chicagobreastcancer.org, and we send you to a quality, which is the very important word here, a quality mammography screening facility.
So I did hear you mention and touch base on the importance of breast cancer. Can you give us a couple of more statistics about breast cancer, what we need to look for, how many women are affected, and what we can possibly do to...
Well, the most important statistic is breast cancer caught early will save your life 99% of the time. And 80% of lumps found are not cancerous. You can attest to that?
Yes, ma'am. I actually can attest to that, because back when I was in college, I was laying on my side. And as I was laying on my side, my arm, I felt a lump in my breast. And I'm like, what is this? And I freaked out. So, but I was nervous about it.
Did you do anything about it?
I didn't do anything about it. Until,
how long didn't you do anything about it?
For 2 years.
What?
2 years. I didn't do anything about it. And so, but during those 2 years, it got small, then it got big,
It changed in size?
It changed in size. And so I did go to the doctor, and they did a biopsy on it, and they did figure that it was benign. It was a tumor. So after I had my daughter 6 years ago, I couldn't breastfeed her because I had to get a lumpectomy. So I got the lumpectomy, they took it out, and they did indeed say that it was a benign tumor, but I feel like, thank God that I did go and get the lumpectomy and finally do something about it, because what if it was cancerous?
Absolutely.
I just absolutely took advantage of, and I took for granted that lump in my breast, because it could have been worse, but thank God it wasn't. So,
well, that's a critical message for young ladies. One, don't deny, verify, do not self-diagnose yourself. And secondly, women under 40 are very unlikely to get an order from a doctor, right? Because the protocol says that after 40, you get a mammogram screening every year. So your doctor is not going to do it until you're 40. So the only weapon you really have for real survival is to check regularly. And for African American women, we get inflammatory breast cancer, which is quick, and it's a quick and consuming cancer. So that they're changing. Actually, I've heard that some of the protocol is changing to every other year, which really for African American women is really bad news.
Yeah.
Yes, because 2 years you can go from 0 to 100, and so then again, the only way is to be checking yourself and knowing what is not normal. Leaking nipples, discharge from your nipples, black discharge from your nipples, a discoloring, lumps on your breasts, or areas where the skin is hardening under your armpits, you have to check as well. So I met a woman today. Can you believe she said her aunt had a mastectomy. She had one breast removed and not the other one at the time. But now the other one that's still on her is black and smells.
Oh, man.
And she has not removed it yet.
Jeez.
And so that to say odor. Odor is another sign that, things that don't smell right.
You wouldn't think that odor can come from a breast. Yeah.
Yes. I had a friend who had cancer. And I remember, I knew he was a clean person, but every time he got in the car, there was a little, just a odor. It almost smelled like when you have dead animals.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a little putrid. And as it turned out, he had rectal cancer, and he, all that time, but he did. So pay attention to smell. Pay attention to how things smell. So
can you tell us a little about your story? Like, how did you find out you had breast cancer, and what did you do? What were the steps that you took?
Well, you know what? I had gone to have an ultrasound in June, and I had the exam, and they said, well, we want you to come back every 6 months. So in October, I was just kind of shaving, and I felt a little knot. It was just a little knot, and I dismissed it. But I was going for all my annual appointments like 2 weeks later. And so I said to my doctor, I felt a little knot. He was like, nah. He did an exam, and he didn't feel anything. I was like, you know what? I knew I was tripping. He said, but here, let me give you an order. But I had just had one. And I was supposed to go in, I had it in June, coming back in December. We're in October. I was like, October was the end of the month. Like, I was like, you know what? I'll be going in 6 weeks. I could just, but I said, let me just call. And on a Tuesday. And she said, can you come in? No, it was a Thursday. She said, can you come in tomorrow? I was like, really? No, I have something to do. She said, well, I have a 2 o'clock open. So I remember showing up at 2 o'clock. I got there right on the dot. There was a spot right in front of the door. I was like, oh, look at God. So I parked in the spot, went in at 2 o'clock. I was still there like 3:45. And usually you're in and out of a mammogram. It does not take that long. And I remember I had to go move my car. I was in the 4 o'clock zone. So I had to get up, put clothes back on, go back outside, move my car, put it in the parking garage, and come back in. And she was like, did you get a ticket? I was like, no, I got there in time. She said, oh, good. I'd hate to add insult to injury. I was like, what? I said, what? She said, well, I see a little, I'm not, can we, so she did a biopsy, and it was breast cancer. And so there, I had a double mastectomy, and I think, that I did not test for mutating the gene, the BRCA test. It's like the big test to see if you mutate the gene, or if it's genetically, and I did not test positive. And a lot of women are not, who are getting breast cancer now, which implies to me that it's environmental. It's really starting to get environmental more than, biological.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's sad. Well, I'm glad you were able to test, because you were going to wait.
I was going to wait. And so, things changed. I just think, what if I had said, you know what, I'm going to go back in a year? Like I hear a lot of women, just who knows? And I always say, when you drive through like Inglewood and see boarded up homes, like on blocks and blocks and blocks. I just feel like somebody died too soon. Somebody did not get their prostate checked. Somebody did not get a mammogram. And when Medea passes away, families fall apart, grandchildren go astray, houses are left uncovered, ain't nobody going to church, there's no type of structure. Now, now Medea's granddaughter, who I said under 40, is at risk because nobody said Medea died from breast cancer. So, Lade Magazine, I'm so honored to really be a guest and to be able to vocalize some of the what I've been thinking about, which is, ladies, your health is more important than what your boyfriend is saying, than the job that won't let you off and you have to take some time off, than not being, whatever excuse you have for not taking care of yourself. Don't be selfish to yourself. Just one appointment could make the difference between life and death on not just breast cancer and any type of screening. You have to take control of your own health, that nobody is going to advocate for you like you. And my message for these young girls, if we are not paying attention, there's going to be a generation of young kids left uncovered because their mothers are not paying attention. So young guys, remind your mothers to get their mammograms. Remind them that you want them around. Boyfriends, remind your girlfriends that you love them and that you're not going nowhere, even if they come home with one breast. And that's important too, that message that, you're going to be lovable no matter who you are.
I just want to thank Dana Divine so much for doing this interview with us. She is an amazing person. She's doing great things for our community. You heard her, y'all. She is so passionate about breast cancer and about our young women under 40. So you guys heard her. Make sure you guys get your screenings and make sure you guys get seen for a lump or just anything, guys. So I appreciate her and the Breast Cancer Task Force for being out there and advocating for breast cancer awareness and advocating for our women. So be looking out for her. She does big things. She's also a singer and a songwriter, so be looking out for her music and be looking out for her around the community because she's doing some excellent things.